extra description on. And finally, the theme or the punchline, it should be something that maybe you can guess, because it's sort of running under the surface. But it's funnier if it's less predictable. We'll see. Skeleton orders a beer and a mop. It goes through. So these are things to keep in mind when constructing jokes. What am I on now? So what can we use though? So I said that settings and characters should be really familiar, require minimal description, and so a lot of the time you use cliches for that. So here are some planning cliches that I came up with. They're not that funny on their own. But endless bureaucracy, big plans, no one to pay for them, endless consultation, vague goals, love transit, hate cars, NIMBYism, developers, politicians. It's a lot of material. And I think that we're all creative people, and we should be able to come up with ways to use these within the structure of a joke in order to make people laugh and gain some understanding about NIMBYism. And let's say official plans that mean nothing, and make people familiar with that. So what does a planning joke look like? This is the first planning joke that I ever heard, and the person telling it was a developer who said it was the only planning joke that he knew. And he'd been in the industry for quite a while. During a dinner party, the wives of an architect, an engineer, and a planner get onto the topic of sex. And it's not that blue, but anyway. The wife of the architect says, "Sex with my husband is great. He always makes a big spectacle out of it. Every time it's bigger and better than the last time, and it's always a new experience." The wife of the engineer says, "Sex with my husband is great too. He's so consistent. I know exactly when and where we're going to do it, how long it will take, and how good it will be. It's exactly what it needs to be. By the book, regulation." The wife of the planner doesn't really want to say anything, but finally she admits, "My husband's always telling me how great the sex is going." That's pretty self-deprecating, you know. Like, the first instinct is, if you're a planner, you can hide this joke and anybody. But what it does is it makes people laugh. It gives you an association. It compares us to architects and engineers in a good kind of way. Like, we know that architects are flashy and everything, and they're well understood by the public. Engineers are by the book and regulation and everything, and people know what engineers are, and they have legitimacy. And planners, well, you might not know that much about a planner, but now you know that we make plans and we talk about stuff, and then nothing really happens. And the other thing so that's what that does for somebody who isn't familiar with planning. For a planner, for a room full of planners here, we're all that much more self-conscious about making plans that don't get built. So this is the educational element of planning humor and jokes. And it can be funny, and it can make sense, and educational. Now there's a terrible joke. No, I cut it out already. I've written a couple of jokes that I'd like to try on you folks. And the good thing is, if they bomb, that just means that you can probably do better. So take this as, all right. Places to Grow Act walks into a bar. Bartender says, "We don't serve provincial legislation here. Yeah." Places to Grow Act looks really sad and disappointed. But then all of a sudden this look of pride and self-assuredness comes over his cover page. And the bartender says, "What the hell's with you?" He says, "Well, it's just so nice to be noticed." And let's see, I've got one more.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, a big city planner, a suburban planner, and a planning student walk into a bar. The bartender looks at the big city planner, and he says, "We don't serve your kind here. You're always trying to tell everyone what to do. You're killing small business, and you're driving away big business. You've never done no good for nobody. Get out of my bar." Crowd cheers. Everybody in the bar thinks this is awesome because this big city planner's really pissed everybody off. And the planner hangs his head in shame and walks out the door. Bartender looks at the suburban planner and says, "We don't serve your kind here either. You let developers walk all over you, you're destroying our agricultural land, and you force everybody to drive a car. You've got no integrity, and you've never done no good for nobody. Get out." Again, the crowd's going nuts. They love it. It's a really nerdy bar. After seeing this, the planning student is like trembling, really terrified of what he's going to get. But the bartender puts a pint of beer in front of him and says, "Listen, you are the future. We're depending on you to save our planet, make our streets safe for our children, improve our health, solve the energy crisis, give everybody clean drinking water, and keep our politicians honest. But watch out, because there's a lot of assholes out there going to make you feel like you can't do anything right." And he drinks. So that's sort of where I'd like to leave off. Let's see. There's another one about being a professional procrastinator. It's like being a doctor with no patience, a mechanic without a garage, or like a politician. In conclusion, the general public lacks a strong casual understanding of planning. I think that's something that we've all noticed in our everyday lives and in the comments sections of newspaper websites. This makes it difficult for planners to have their voices heard. Comedy can be used to educate people about planning principles and about the profession as a whole. Professional planning does have great comedic potential, for sure. And realizing this potential through the application of planning cliches in the context of simple and hilarious jokes will help advance the profession. And I urge you all to try to make up some jokes. Jokes come from places. They don't come out of nowhere. So give it a shot and make some jokes and try them out with your friends at the pub tonight, possibly, and have a good time. And try not to, I mean, planning is serious business, but don't take it so damn seriously, because it's everyday life, and so we should be able to enjoy it, and enjoy the ridiculousness of it. So, thank you.